Hi, this is Jenny from Oak Orchard Health WIC. Welcome to our new infant care series where we will cover a variety of topics surrounding how to best care for an infant. All of our information is gathered from the American Academy of Pediatrics, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, along with other research-based evidence sources. We strive to bring the most current and safe practices of infant care and topics to you. Today's focus is going to surround sleep safe and the reduction of SIDS. If you're not sure quite what SIDS is and what it stands for, I'm just going to kind of go through the background of that first. SIDS is defined as a sudden death of an infant younger than 1 year of age that remains unexplained even after a thorough case investigation. SIDS, however, I don't want you to think is the only cause of a sudden infant death. Each year in the United States, thousands of infants die suddenly of no immediate obvious cause. These deaths are classified as SUID. In a death of SUID, the infant again would be younger than 1 year of age, and that occurs suddenly and unexpectedly too. So some of the cases where we might see a death of an infant younger than 1 year of age in the case of an SUID rather than SIDS is another sleep-related death that doesn't have a cause really surrounding it. And typically, like I said, it was kind of a sleep-related death, more so an unexpected death that typically occurs during that sleep time, okay? A lot of it we see is could be accidental suffocation. We also see entrapment where a baby can get trapped between two objects, such as a mattress and a wall. They can't breathe, or strangulation when something presses on or wraps around the baby's neck, blocking their airway. So these deaths are not classified as SIDS. These deaths would be classified as SUID rather. So again, these are unexpected infant deaths. These are accidents, okay? Doesn't have an external factor such as like poisoning or neglect that comes from it. I want to bring up that about half of the SUID cases are actual SIDS. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into some of that today and really start to explore some of the pieces on how we can best combat SIDS and how you can reduce it in your household with a baby that's younger than 1 year of age, okay? First thing, let's talk about keeping soft objects out of cribs, out of sleep safe areas, such as toys, crib bumpers, as you see in this surround here, okay? Loose bedding, if you have bedding off to the side, or a sheet that's not tightly fitted around the mattress and maybe a corner of the sheet is not staying around the mattress, then that would have to be corrected, okay? So we want to see things like pillows, blankets, quilts, or those crib bumpers that are anywhere near your baby's sleep area. Evidence does not support using crib bumpers in preventing injury. So this is really why crib bumpers were once used, was to be able to prevent injury for the baby. The unfortunate thing is crib bumpers are really still sold. You can typically still get your hands on a crib bumper. However, if one is given to you, I would ask that you dispose of it. If you pick one up secondhand, ask you not to use it. The unfortunate thing is these could definitely result in a case of suffocation, okay? So they definitely can cause serious injuries or even death. Keeping them out of your baby's sleep area is the best way to avoid these dangers, okay? So you never want to use those as they can increase the risk. Let's take a look at creating a sleep-safe environment in looking at reducing the risk of SIDS and other sleep-related causes of death, okay? We always want to make sure that our baby is on his or her back for sleep, for naps, and at night. So anytime that baby is going to be sleeping, you need to get the baby in their sleep-safe environment, whether that be a sleep-safe rated bassinet, a sleep-safe rated crib and mattress, and a sleep-safe rated pack and play. Those are all great sleep safe spaces for babies, as long as they're rated sleep safe. Okay. So we want to make sure with that we're keeping in mind that every sleep time counts. Okay, whether and we'll talk in a little bit about car seats. Often our babies fall asleep in car seats, so I'll give you some information on that. Again, I just want to reiterate that the ABCs are an easy way to remember the sleep safe pieces. So we have A for alone, B for back, C for crib. So always make sure that baby's alone in their crib with nothing else around them. Always make sure your baby is placed on their back, and always make sure that they're in their crib. Okay. Now, of course, this little guy will get at some point where he's able to roll on his own. Okay. Place them on their back, and if they're able to roll on their own, that's absolutely fine. They're just coming up to that age to where they can navigate around their crib a little bit more, and that's certainly fine, because they'll be able to roll in a position in which they're comfortable. And during those times, we still have to be aware, and our senses still need to be heightened around SIDS and what to do to keep that environment safe and free of any of those risks. But if your baby can roll, then they can kind of roll from their tummy to their back. Then that's absolutely fine. You don't have to go in and change their position if they'd roll to their tummy, because they can roll out of that position as well. As long as they can go from tummy to back, from back to tummy, you should be fine. But still keeping in mind, even at that point, that you should not be introducing any pillows or blankets or stuffy friends during that time. Oftentimes I get the question about crib mobiles, if they're safe, because we say, just an empty crib with a tight fitted sheet is what is safe for babies. If you do have a baby mobile, I would say that is that is reported safe until baby can start to stand up in the crib. Then that mobile should be removed once baby is able to reach up to that mobile, because you don't want an accident to happen then. So when they're little and they're using eye-hand coordination and using those visual senses, a mobile is safe if it's properly hooked up, and of course, as if it's something, if it's a mobile that is a new mobile or newer mobile. Okay, so you want to make sure that it is still a safe product and has not been recalled. Is the big idea there. Okay. So again, those positions are safest for babies, including preterm babies also. Okay. This is another big factor. Parents should share their room, not their bed. So important here to room share, keeping your baby safe in the same room where you or others sleep reduces the risks of SIDS. 6 months is something you should strive for. A year would be amazing if you could keep your baby in your room for a year. It's nice because baby is right near you, so you're hearing all of their cues. You're hearing their different stages of sleep, so you're more apt to be listening for different things with your baby, as opposed to them being in another room. So you're kind of room sharing, and having baby right close next to your bed in their own sleep space allows you to closely monitor baby. So that's the big idea there in the reduction of SIDS, is to have baby close to you so you can hear baby. Just another thing I want to point out here, in talking that baby should room share, not bed share. I want you to be thinking that in an adult bed, it's typically a softer mattress on a couch or a chair, alone with you or with anybody else. Those all increase those risks of an accidental death. Okay. If you are feeding baby, nursing baby, or bottle feeding baby in the middle of the night, I want you to just kind of think about where your awake level of awakeness is. Are you able to feed baby and get baby back into their sleep space, and or you feel like you could fall asleep with baby? So if that's the case, I would not take baby out and bring baby down into a chair or a couch or a glider or a rocker. If you are feeling tired and you're feeding baby, the best place in that case would be is to feed baby in your bed, okay? But making sure that you get them back into their separate sleep area, okay? If you are feeling sleepy, the safest place to have them with you is in your bed to feed them. In case you do fall asleep, the baby will be safer with you as opposed to you falling asleep with baby in the chair and baby is dropping, or you are feeding baby on the couch, and then an accidental illness or death could occur there. So you really want to make sure that you're awake during those feeding times, even in the middle of the night when we do tend to be overtired and definitely sleepy. And especially in those early days. But it's so important to feed baby and get baby right back into their sleep safe space, okay? So important that we're also not laying babies down in, I'm just going to pause it on the screen for a second. I don't want to backtrack here. That we're not laying babies down to sleep in their carriers or swings or other products like that. And I'll go over that in a second, but I just want to make sure that even when we're feeding a baby in the middle of the night and you're trying to get some rest, and that swing is a good constant motion for baby, because it's not a firm flat surface, that does increase the risks of SIDS, okay? Another big factor in allowing us to be able to reduce the risk of SIDS from these outside external environmental pieces is not to smoke or allow smoke in your baby's environment, okay? So it's important, if you or a partner are a smoker, to make sure that you're leaving the home to do so, right out on the porch. And then I'd really urge for you to even, when you come inside, to wash your hands and change your clothing as well, just to have the baby not being, breathing that in, and then it not being part of their clothing as well. So that's super important as well, okay? Another piece that I want to look at is not letting your baby get too hot during sleep. This is one that a lot of moms and dads and parents fear of. And again, a lot of these external factors you have control over. So you can really help to reduce the risk of SIDS just by implementing these things that I'm speaking about today, okay? So we don't want to let our baby get too hot during sleep. Some signs that they're hot: they got like a damp hair, so right in the back of their neck. They're sweating, their cheeks are flushed, so they're going to look a little red. They have a rapid breathing, their tummy feels hot. So just a good rule of thumb is that you're going to dress your baby in no more than one layer of clothing, more than you would be wearing, okay? That's if you're somebody who doesn't get too hot or too cold. You just want to make sure that the baby is comfortable. So if it's wintertime and you're going to bed with fleece pajama pants and a sweatshirt on, and you're comfortable all night with those items on, you'd want to do one more layer for baby. So, and I'm talking about like a cotton layer, so like the thickness of a cotton t-shirt. So you might dress baby in a long sleeve onesie, and then their fleece pajamas, and then perhaps a light cotton sleep sack, okay? Because that sleep sack, we'll talk a little bit more about that, is going to act as their blanket, because we have a lot of newer parents that know the idea of the importance of the sleep sack, but then we might have our older generation and grandparents who, and myself included, my oldest daughter is almost 18, so I didn't have sleep sacks. We just used you bought your whole bed in a bag. You had the baby bumper, you had the baby sheet, and you had the baby quilts. So that's what you would use for your crib set. So they use blankets to cover themselves up. And then we're seeing all of these increased risks of SIDS, and then researchers start looking and analyzing, like, what are we doing? We're laying babies on their bellies, we're covering babies up, we're using these bumpers, all of these external factors that we can really control to make sure that our baby is happy and healthy is huge. So watch for that temperature. I will release in another video and go in a little bit more deeper about looking at what babies should wear in what particular temperature, but a good rule of thumb is just one more cotton layer than what you're wearing, okay? So if you're going to sleep with fleece pants and a sweatshirt on and an Afghan or a comforter on, then you're going to want your baby to be similar. However, the blanket is going to be their sleep sack that they're in, okay? So a little bit different, but covers all of the same idea of keeping your baby at that right temperature. Some other things that I want to point out is to avoid products that claim that they reduce the risk of SIDS and other sleep-related causes of infant death, such as wedges, positioners, and other products that have not been tested for safety or effectiveness. So just looking at a crib wedge right here, a lot of times crib wedges are recommended for babies with acid reflux. However, evidence does not support the safety or effectiveness of wedges or positioners. So this is a positioner, keeps the baby in this position from moving around, okay? In fact, wedges, sleep positioners, these products are associated with injury and death, okay? So these greatly, once they're introduced in a crib, these greatly increase the risk of SIDS. So I did want to point this out. Again, I know I started to bring it up in talking about babies falling asleep in other areas. So car seats, we have them in the car, we're on a long trip. And I get this asked a lot, what if we're traveling and we're traveling for 3 or 4 hours in the car and the baby's in the car seat? Well, chances are the baby's not going to be in the car seat that entire 4 hours and just sleeping, okay? You're going to get up to feed baby, you're going to get baby up to change baby during that road trip. So as long as that baby, you're keeping that baby kind of active and somebody's back there watching that baby, that's going to be okay. Just keep a constant monitor on that baby during longer road trips. But let's talk about just going to the grocery store, coming home from Walmart. You want to unload your groceries, and I did this all the time many years ago. I'd bring Abby in the car seat, plop her on the living room floor, cross my fingers that I could get all the groceries in before she would wake up. But we now know that this is an increase in SIDS. So as much as it pains you to wake a sleeping baby and move them, that is absolutely the best thing to do. So we do not want to use a car seat, carrier, swing, or a similar product like that as a baby's sleep area, okay? So as soon as you get home and you get everything in, you want to go ahead and take baby out of the car seat and then put them in their sleep safe space, okay? You want them on that flat, firm surface. So important. I can't stress that enough, okay? And you certainly do not want to turn a swing or a car seat into an everyday sleep safe or a sleep area, because that is not sleep safe at all. There's been a lot of infant deaths related to car seats and sleep-related accidental deaths related to that. And another, just a little side piece that I want to bring up that I also share with parents, especially in car seats, and our little baby girls have those big cute bows. Those are fantastic when you're able to see baby and be around baby, but make sure you remove those big headband bows from babies before you place them in your car seat. With our rear-facing car seats, a lot of times we can't see baby while we're driving unless we have that mirror, and there have been some accidental suffocation deaths that have occurred with those bigger headbands in babies where they slip right over their little noses and mouths. So that's something that you really want to make sure to avoid. Let's talk about swaddling for a second. Swaddling is really how we get babies to calm down, and swaddling is still a great way to get babies to calm down. It's part of those 5 S's in having a baby just kind of be relaxed and rested and or ready for feeding. And that's another time, another video that we'll talk about the 5 S's in helping a baby to calm down. But I want to share that there's no evidence that swaddling reduces the risk of SIDS. Swaddling can actually increase the risk. So if you have them in their tight-fitted blanket, They could overheat, first of all, and we know that's increased risk of SIDS is overheating. Also, this blanket, because their little arms are so strong down and under here that they can wiggle those little arms up and get them right over here. And this blanket they could pull up over their airways. So you really want to be mindful of that. The sleep safe or the sleep sacks are good for that. You can lay them down in a sleep sack. I would not recommend laying them down in a receiving blanket, as that blanket can get up over their airways. Okay, so yes, you can absolutely still use swaddling blankets. Just make sure that your eyes are on baby that entire time. I would not get babies 11 o'clock feed in, have them wrapped, they're super snuggly, they're super tired, and then you lay them down. But maybe at some point they end up waking up and kind of wrestling out of this blanket. Okay, so I just want you to be thinking about that during the day when you're settling baby down, and you have them wrapped in a receiving blanket or a swaddling blanket and you're holding them, that's fine. You should never leave them in their sleep space with a swaddling blanket on when you're not around or able to effectively monitor the baby during that time. Okay, so just be thinking about that when you're selecting options for baby. The other thing I want to talk about is using the heart or breathing monitors. Heart or breathing monitors, and I want to point out that I'm specifically talking about using our heart or breathing monitor in the reduction of SIDS, okay? So not something that a pediatrician is telling you for another reason. So specifically, you're going out to the store to buy a heart and breathing monitor to monitor baby in the reduction of SIDS. Okay, so I want to just make sure that that's clear first. First, there is no scientific evidence that exists as of now that a heart or breathing monitor is reducing or has reduced the risk of SIDS. Okay, and I also want to point out that many of the heart or breathing monitors are not FDA approved, okay? So they've not been tested. Again, I'd also like to point out, and this is huge, that we are the best monitors as parents. So if we're relying on a piece of technology, often we can become a little laxed in the sense that we're like, okay, we're good. I'm gonna keep my baby in the car seat and I'm gonna strap the monitor on them and I'm gonna get all my groceries in, all my groceries put away. Oh, baby's still sleeping. I'm gonna make dinner too because I have that monitor on. So you're thinking that this piece of technology, and also that just technology is so great in our life, but you're thinking this piece of technology is going to tell me if there's something going on with my child's breathing. Unfortunately, breathing monitors and heart monitors, looking at SIDS specifically, they've had false read reports. So a lot of times it can increase parents' anxiety because you're getting false reports. So in the middle of the night, maybe the monitor goes off, baby's absolutely fine. There's also been the monitor has not gone off and baby had passed away unexpectedly in their sleep. Okay, so you are the child's best monitor in these cases, just by doing all the things and all the practices that I'm sharing today to decrease the risk of SIDS. Okay, so I want to just point out that there's lots of times that baby can be on their stomach while they're awake and someone is watching them, and that's during tummy time. Okay, supervised tummy time helps that baby's neck and shoulders and arm muscles get stronger. It also helps to prevent their little flat spots that can form on the back of baby's head. Okay, so holding the baby upright and limiting time in carriers and bouncers can also help prevent those flat spots on the back of the baby's head. So tummy time has so many important pieces, and we'll dive into that in another video for another day. But just a real quick piece on tummy time. So, clearly baby on their belly during the day, you just kind of want to work up to gradually a few minutes each day. But when they're tiny, 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 doing that skin to skin and babies laying right on your chest, that counts as tummy time. Holding the baby in a position where they're not laying on their back in your arms, but rather their belly is on your forearm, that counts as tummy time. So burping baby over the back of your shoulder, that counts as tummy time. So anytime that they're not laying flat on their back or, awake in a swing, those times are crucial because they're using those head, neck, back, shoulder muscles to really form that development. So give them that time during the day to where they're not against an object, either in a sort of an infant chair or a crib. So making sure to provide a lot of that time for tummy time is super important. Okay. The next piece that I want to talk about is just, again, I want to reiterate, and I have a couple of these throughout the video, that keeping babies safe while they sleep is huge. So on their back, that crib looks just like that. It's free of toys, blankets, and pillows. Never sleep with the baby, but room share with that baby. Have that baby right next to you. And never, ever, ever put a baby to sleep on the couch, in an adult bed or a chair, or let them fall asleep in their car seat, okay? So those are all huge pieces. So back, alone in crib, room sharing with you, okay? Falling asleep with your baby can be very dangerous. Just takes a minute, and a lot of parents say, oh, we've done it before, we'll do it again. It's always just that one other time that unfortunately could be the difference in that. So let's look at this again. Baby sleeps in a crib. Baby's on the back. Here's that sleep sack I was talking about. So that sleep sack, this is like a fleece one. This will count as baby's blanket. So if you have that, you're putting a fleece blanket on yourself at night or a comforter, this would act as their blanket, okay? Nothing in the sleep area, okay? Not the teddy bear that grandma bought for the baby. The baby's face is uncovered, okay? So there's nothing that could be obstructing the airways. There's no smoking around the baby. We're not overheating or overdressing the baby. So be watching for those signs of overheating. Look for those flushed cheeks. Look for the wetness to their hair, the sweatiness, okay? And a lot of the sleep sacks, I'm going to use the mouse here, a lot of the sleep sacks can zipper from the bottom. And I love this factor. If you pull that zipper up, like right to midpoint, you can let some air breathe through the sleep sack, and you can expose their little legs, and you can kind of just create a nice circular flow of air through here. And some of the newer sleep sacks, they have some little breathers up here. It's vented right up here by the baby. So take a look what's out on the market. They have tons of amazing sleep safe pieces. So then we want a firm mattress, not a mattress that you got from your sister, that she got used from your cousin. Mattresses are one of those things that you really want to be able to buy new, okay? You want to make sure it's a sleep safe rated mattress. You want to make sure it's a firm mattress for baby, okay? So that's super important. A nice tight fitted sheet around it. So all of those things can really aid in the reduction of SIDS. So you want to be just implementing as much as you can to reduce the risk of SIDS, as much as you have control over, okay? Pacifiers decrease the risk of sleep-related deaths, so there is evidence out there. And I know some parents are like, yes, that's great. And then some parents are like, no, wait, we don't want to give our baby a pacifier. This is completely your call. The only thing I would really stress here is being a lactation counselor, in the understanding the complete and utter benefits of breastfeeding. Make sure that if you are breastfeeding, to make sure that a pacifier is offered only after breastfeeding is well established. Okay, so formula-fed babies, you can introduce a pacifier as soon as your family wishes to. If you're breastfeeding, it's usually around that 3 to 4 week mark, when breastfeeding has become well established, that you can introduce a pacifier. And not all babies want a pacifier, so don't force it. You don't have to, if they don't take it. This is just another one of those things that kind of keeps baby remembering, hey, look at me, I'm I'm breathing, I'm sucking, I have this constant motion. A lot of parents ask me, can they go to sleep with the pacifier in their mouth? Absolutely. What if the pacifier falls out while they're sleeping? Can I put it back in? No, not unless they're waking up upset and that's something that they want back, then absolutely give it back to them. Do not, though, just make sure it's just the pacifier itself. Make sure that pacifier is new. Make sure that pacifier does not have any bite marks in it to where there's a rip in it, and make sure not to use any pacifier clip or any type of clip that's going to anchor that pacifier to the baby's clothing, okay? As we know that those clips can increase the risk of sudden infant death syndrome. So just make sure that it's just the pacifier itself. Make sure that pacifier is in good working order. And you're absolutely okay for that, for the baby to lay down with the pacifier. It's okay if this pacifier falls out of the baby's mouth in their sleep space. That's okay too. Okay. Again, don't force it if it's something that they don't want. And again, it's your family's wishes. I just want to give you that extra little piece of information. Besides, and I don't think I have a clip for this, but I was just talking about it. Besides introducing pacifiers, we also know that breastfeeding your baby reduces the risk of SIDS. Breastfeeding has so many health benefits for mother and infant. If you bring your baby into your bed to breastfeed, just make sure to put him back into that separate sleep space, like we were talking about, in your room where you sleep. When you're finished breastfeeding baby. So breastfeeding also reduces the risks of SIDS, okay? Again, I just want to go over, don't forget that infant sleep area has no bumpers, pillows, blankets, or toys, okay? Another way to reduce those risks of SIDS during pregnancy, moms get the regular health care during pregnancy, and don't smoke, don't drink alcohol, use illegal drugs during pregnancy, or after the baby is born, okay? So all of those really help to combat the sudden infant death syndrome and the infant-related deaths that surround it as well. We would love if you go on the Oak Orchard WIC Facebook page, like our page, and I also want to just remind you that the information provided in this video comes from the National Institute of Child Health. And I hope that you liked our video. I hope that you found it educational. And if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call right at the office. You can reach us at 585-344-2203. And if you'd like to speak directly to me, just ask for Jenny Stabell, or you're welcome to speak to any of our nutritionists. If you want more information on Sleep Safe, then go ahead and you can even reach out to us right on Facebook, okay? I wish you all a wonderful day. Thank you.